And ladies and gentlemen, that explosion, that nuclear explosion you saw at the end of the intro, I don't know about you, but that's kind of how I'm feeling after Trump's one day in office.
America
I mean, in a good
is
way.
great again. It's wild, Ericka. It's a whole new era.
It is, Jay, we were talking a little bit, you guys, before we went live today about, I have mixed feelings about the executive orders. That's what we're gonna be talking about today. Excuse me, guys. We're gonna get to see some highlights. Our fearless leader and host Robert Chernin has been in Washington, D.C. He sent some footage, some videos, some pictures. He's been gallivanting around D.C., rubbing elbows.
Wait a minute.
What?
It's a new administration. I thought I was the new host with you.
Has Robert been called up to the administration? Is he out?
Is he gone? He's been in D.C. for quite a while. I'm not sure what he's doing there. I'm sure it's something important.
I'm telling you, you guys, we are, we are really lucky to have Robert Chernin as a friend and host. You, Jay, and Robert have both been really well, part of the political scene for some time. What? I'm telling you, I'm glad I didn't go to D.C. I don't know about anybody else. I'm glad I didn't go to DC. I love that Robert's in there, rubbing elbows with people, but it's going to be cold and gross.
It was cold, but we're trying to get a hold of Robert to be on the show tonight, but
yeah,
he's out there wearing a tuxedo somewhere, going to balls and going to important events, the inaugurations and special events. So, I don't know if he's dressed appropriately to, be on the show. He's probably in a tuxedo, going out to dinner, hobnobbing with the powers that be.
Yeah, he might not. Maybe he won't be back. Maybe you will be my new permanent host. I don't know, Jay.
This show will go down the drain in a hurry.
Well, luckily, Jay, they're only stuck with you for one more week. So we're gonna check out some of the highlights from Robert's trip to DC, and then we're gonna go over the executive orders. Dun dun dun! All right, here we go. A little Kid Rock action.
Ready to celebrate tonight?
Who's that? Was that Rick Scott? I don't think that guy. Florida.
Kid Rock, Florida.
What's that?
That looks like New Hampshire.
Oh, the different balls.
Yes, Liberty Ball, that's the big one.
Oh, here, I can turn this down a little bit. The Liberty Ball?
Yeah, the Liberty Ball with Jason Aldean. Oh, he's at the Oval Office.
Cool.
This looks like the opening ceremony at the inauguration. There's some Republicans there that are not too fond of the former president.
Yeah. So what's the big deal?
Did you happen to see the Vance kids? They were so great.
Oh, I didn't. Were they out in the inauguration?
Yes, they came out when Vice President Vance did the swearing in and put his hand on the Bible, and they were there. His young daughter had Band-Aids on her fingers, except for the thumb that she had in her mouth. And the boys were so great. And they went to the parade afterwards, and they just had a great time. Probably not as great a time as Robert had here watching the president and the vice president and their spouses dance.
Yeah.
There's also a great shot of the president's grandchildren dancing.
Oh, how sweet. I think it's fantastic.
Now, who would have ever thought that the Village people would be in love with a conservative Republican president?
Right? I was like, when I heard they were playing, I was like, what?
And they're the original. All four of them are originals.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's freaking wild.
And it's so great. Robert had a chance to go there and really be part of history. They closed the outdoor event and brought it
Mm,
inside for 2,500 people. It was interesting to see that my favorite senator from Vermont, Mr. Bernie Sanders, was in the front row. I don't know if he was aging well because, the president said some wonderful and great things, and everyone in the crowd was standing and cheering, and he was sitting there. I'm not
yeah.
sure he could get up. I can't imagine what his issues were, not joining everybody in all the standing ovations.
Yeah.
But he was in the front row next
Uh,
to Senator Cotton.
I loved the sourpuss on the face of Kamala Harris and everybody else sitting in the front row as Donald Trump was totally talking smack. Benjamin, can you find for me? I was trying to pull up Jay's tweet for tweet. Is it still called a tweet on X? Whatever. His tweet from yesterday about Bernie Sanders. Can you find that for me? Okay. Um yeah, I loved watching them, like, as he's like, we're gonna end, endless deportations and all, or, all these endless illegal alien, all the crazy, right? And they're just sitting there like sourpuss, not standing up, looking mad. I was like, wow, he is just like talking smack right to their faces.
Well, he had to explain to the American people how bad it really is, that
Mm,
how much work needs to be done because so much has happened in the last 4 years with uh, President, they call him President Biden, but so much has happened that's taken this country downhill. And in
yeah,
order to talk about the greatness and the exceptionalism that's coming in the next 4 years, he had to explain to the American people exactly where we are now.
yeah,
And that for us to make dramatic changes, it had to be necessary because we couldn't just make moderate little changes at a time because things
yeah.
have gotten so bad and it had to be explained before he could talk about the greatness that was coming.
That's right. Now, so what is it? 93 executive orders
Well, some of
so
the
far?
executive orders were repealing some of the executive orders that Joe Biden had put into
Ah,
place.
okay.
So the exact number is somewhere around 93 different
Okay.
ones that were signed yesterday. And that was quite a ceremony as well.
Yeah. Yep, that was I want a presidential pen. Okay, so now here's my argument. Now hold on one second. Hold on. Let me bring us back. Okay. Now here's my argument, you guys. You're out there in the world and you're like, I love it. He's pardoning the J6ers. He's going to end DEI programs. He did all the things he said he was going to do. He's doing all the things. However, I have a fundamental problem with executive orders in the first place. We do not live in a kingdom. We do not elect a king. We elect a president, and he is not meant to have legislative powers. And executive orders are essentially legislative powers. And so I have a real problem with that. So I want to just start off before we talk about how great they are. I want to argue about why they're terrible. I don't know. What do you think, Jay? Am I wrong? Am I
Well,
right? What do you think?
well, executive orders have been in place since the Constitution. So they
Mm,
are available to a president. They were never used until basically Franklin Roosevelt. And then it was two or
mm,
three. And then each president after that makes the number larger and larger.
yeah.
Obama went crazy with executive orders.
Yep.
George Bush had a few, but it really is the incarnation of a do nothing Congress. So what's happened is, they've gotten into gridlock. They can't even pass a budget in Congress.
Mm,
So there needs to be a method and a way of making things move forward until legislation can come about. And I
yeah.
do agree with you. The Constitution is king, not the president.
Yes.
But because of the inability of this Congress and most other Congresses, uh, something had to be done.
Yeah. This is okay. So you guys, I don't know. I'm not endorsing this website, Federal Register. That's just what came up top in the Google search. And it's got executive orders by president. So Joe Biden did 160. in his. So at least that's what was recorded. Oh my God, we might have to talk about those pardons, by the way. That we're probably going to cover a little bit about Joe Biden's freaking pardons. So yeah, Barack Obama so far, no, George Bush has the most. Oh no, Clinton does. Bill Clinton, 364 executive orders, y'all. Look at that. Ronald Reagan. Oh, man. Look at the 320. Jimmy Carter. Nixon, 346. So these guys were judicious in their... Oh, look at that. FDR. No, Truman?
Truman.
906, bro? Like, what are you doing, bro?
Well, a lot of that was after the war. So there were things that had to be put into place.
Yeah. 2000 by FDR. So I'm really curious. That's as far back as this website is going, but
that's about as far back as it goes, Ericka. That was really when executive orders were put into place, was under Roosevelt. Because previous to that, Hoover didn't do much, and there was no better defender of the constitutional belief in prior to that with Calvin
Coolidge.
So we want to make sure, where's Calvin? Calvin is right here.
Yep.
Right behind me.
Yep.
Right and there. If you look on the far end over my head, is the founder of the Constitution, James Madison.
Yep.
So I certainly believe in the Constitution, but there are times when the executive orders need to be put into place.
Okay. So you are in, so you would say generally in favor of the list of executive orders we've seen so far?
I would say I'm about a 75%.
Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so one of the first, I think the very first one he did was pardoning the J6 defendants. Is that correct? Was that the very first one?
Yes.
I think that was the very first one he did. So, we've talked about that on the show before, that, if people were breaking the law, if you hurt people, you deserve whatever punishment you're going to get. But if you were just a person, who was walking through, peacefully, like our friend Siaka Massaquoi, like these people should not be, getting federal felony charges.
Well, I think one of the things that you have to take a look at is there's around 1,500 that were pardoned. And there's an additional 100 or so that were not listed there. So we're really not sure if everyone who was involved or indicted and convicted or charged were actually pardoned. So there's some question about some assaults on police officers and those types of people that we still don't have to take a longer look at, be more judicious in our approach to it, and to see if it was a blanket for everyone that was there, or whether or not there are some people who have been left out.
I am with it, Jay. Okay, so then tell me, what do you think of the ones that you've checked out so far? Which ones are you unhappy with? Happy with?
Well,
what do you
think? To be honest with you, I'm not unhappy with them at this point. I haven't done enough homework on them.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that people have to understand is that some of the sentences that some of these people who deserve some punishment were far over the line.
Yeah.
That in civilian cases, in typical cases where you'd get a 3-month sentence, people were getting 22 years.
Yeah.
So we want to take a look at all the details on each one of these. But overall, it's the right thing to do to send a message saying that the Department of Justice under Joe Biden was out of control.
Yeah.
That they were weaponizing the Department of Justice for political purposes. And most of those that were indicted and charged it was done so that they could go after Donald Trump and those who supported him.
I am in agreement. That sounds about right to me, Jay. So one of the things I liked was declaring the national emergency at our southern border. The fact that we have hundreds of thousands of children who are lost in the system, that we, which if they're not trafficked, where are they? I mean, just the unconscionable amount of human misery that has been created by allowing our open border. I want to see the drug cartels treated like terrorists. I frankly, do you know why, Jay? This is a curious question. I don't know if you know. Why haven't they previously been identified as terrorist organizations?
Well, identifying them and having a geographic territory makes it tougher to identify terrorist groups. And it's difficult to identify the leadership and where they're located. But
Okay.
when you take a look at declaring the border as a national emergency, it's really important that the drug cartel being ruled as terrorists go along with it. And it all goes back to promises made, promises kept. So what we're doing is we're halting illegal entry. He also reinstated the Remain in Mexico policy, which is very, very important. And you're going to see Mexico really be involved in helping us with this because they know they have no other choice. No more catch and release. We need to stop the invasion, but it has to be a comprehensive plan. And it can't just be, we're going to build the wall. We have to do more than that. So we have to go in and break up these drug cartels, like you're saying, what the fentanyl is doing to Americans. And the president talked a little bit about the fentanyl crisis, not just at the border, but what's going on in China, and they're supporting it and them being part of it. So it's a comprehensive plan to save our American children and to save children that are coming across the border from Central and South America, that they have a right to a good life. And being, being trafficked and being used is just not good for anyone. And so we need to care about all the people that want to come to this country. We have to care about giving them an opportunity to be prosperous where they live and to give them a life that's not filled with danger and insecurity.
I am with it, Jay. And I know this one is a little bit more controversial. We're going to skip around. We're going to talk controversy. You ready? Birthright citizenship. I'm assuming, wait, where did I just say it? The protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. I'm assuming this is the one that has to do with birthright citizen. Oh, yep. Here we go. So this is one that the argument against the 14th Amendment, that people, just because they're born on American soil, makes them American citizens. I am personally grateful that this is being taken on. I know that's not sexy. It makes me, oh, you're a racist. You're a racist. No, I don't care what skin color you have. You do not get to be an American citizen just because you were born on the soil here. That's not how it works.
Well, it is how it works, Ericka.
Unfortunately, but that's not how it should work, Jay.
Well, there's the way to deal with this and a way not to deal with it. And an executive order does not trump the Constitution, pun intended.
No.
So what we really need to do is that there's been a lot of mistakes made in terms of allowing people to invade our country and to find ways of circumventing our laws. But for us to not follow the law of the land and the Constitution, I have some problems with that.
Yeah.
I believe that the Constitution, right, James Madison, is the law of the land, and that you can't move against the Constitution. And it'll go through the court system. And I think in the end, you're going to find that the courts are going to decide that it is unconstitutional and that birthright citizenship is going to be allowed in the long run. But it's another one of this comprehensive plan that the president has done, where he wants to save this country for those who are citizens of this country.
That's right. And that's, I mean, when we're seeing, whole apartment buildings being taken over by drug cartels in various large cities around the country. Tell me it's not an invasion. Tell me again how I'm the racist and it's not an invasion when they're literally commandeering American property on American soil. What is that called? Call me crazy.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Okay, so there is tons of drill baby drill in here, which I like. Let's see, unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. I saw something else on here, unleashing American energy. I'm assuming this means all of the slowdowns in getting, various drilling operations going. That's going to start moving forward a lot faster. Maybe we're going to get a reinstatement of the Keystone Pipeline.
We'll get reinstatement of the Keystone Pipeline. We're going to do away with the the windmills off the coast that are making this place look like a third world country.
Oh my God, it's so ridiculous.
No Green New Deal.
Good.
It's done. It's over. Kiss it goodbye. Real important thing, the EV mandates and the subsidies. The president said it very clear. You can buy the car that you want to buy. Vermont and California have the strictest. In 2026, you have to have 35% of your cars have to be electric.
Wow.
No logic behind it. It's just this Green New Deal fantasy that some of these tree huggers and, bug savers and fantasy world of climate change people.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. It really is. There is no bigger tree hugger than my sister Shannon. Okay. I'm totally calling her out by name on here. My sister, there's no bigger tree hugger. Okay. She went to school for environmental science. She doesn't even she makes her own ranch because she doesn't want to buy ranch in a plastic bottle. She goes above and beyond. She grows her own food. She's a science nerd. She loves the earth, loves it. And even she's like, Ericka, EV cars are garbage. And I asked her about all these new, these studies that have been coming out lately saying that the windmills and the solar farms are actually creating microclimates, which are actually creating a lot of the weather anomalies that we're dealing with. And she was like, oh yeah, I could have told you that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean? Why don't people who have sense get to talk?
Well, they do, but they're not subsidized enough. So it's virtue signaling gone crazy.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to save somebody. Everyone's going to, live the good life, and they're going to save somebody along the way. And the truth is, these are the same science. They call people who don't agree with them science deniers. And they're the same people that don't believe that it's a baby. So they deny the science when it comes to, abortion and taking the life of a child when everyone knows it's a child. But now they call us science deniers because we don't believe the scientists that make their living with government subsidies because they've defrauded the American people in believing that mankind is the cause of climate change. Yes, there is climate change. Here's Jay Shepard telling you there is climate change, but I'm also telling you I don't know why God is doing it.
Yeah.
God is in control of our environment, and if you think you're powerful enough to change our environment and make a difference, you live in a fantasy world and you think you're a little mini God.
Well,
Get
apparently,
over yourself.
For real. Okay, so hold on. Benjamin found the tweet that I was looking for. Can you guys all read that? This is Jay the Shepherd's best tweet. A photo of everyone Bernie Sanders has lifted out of poverty. And for those of you who are listening, it is a picture of Bernie Sanders.
Well, there's another tweet that I made recently regarding Bernie as well.
Yeah.
And Bernie has gone out of his way to talk about the oligarchs that were standing behind the president. There we are.
Yeah.
And, the three richest men in the world, standing behind the president and all of that. And my comment was pretty simple. Bernie is just jealous because he's only a multi-millionaire. The difference is these three people actually created jobs. These three people helped the economy. Bernie Sanders helped one person. Well, that's not true because Jane Sanders is benefiting as well. 3 homes, never had a private sector job, and is a multi-millionaire. And he says, well, you could have written a book too. Well, I can't write a book because I don't have government staff helping me write it.
Yeah.
I actually have full-time job,
And the free advertising of being a congressman. Give me a break. Like that is an what in the
and let's go back and see who bought the books. Lobbyists.
Wow.
You don't think just the general public sold enough books for him to be a multimillionaire with 3 homes?
I mean, here's what I do know. Bernie Sanders sucks. Ladies, I will cop to the, I've said I'm going to confess something. Are you ready for this, Jay? I'm going to get totally canceled for this. In 2016, before I was the crazy right winger that you see before me today, I wrote in Bernie Sanders for president in 2016.
Well, Ericka, I'll give you a break on this because we all mature at a different age.
I know.
And I'm so happy that you finally have grown up and realized what the world is all about. And now you're making amends for it. You're doing this great podcast. You're speaking out. You ran for office. So, it's part of the reconciliation that we do in life.
Oh, man.
You admit your sins and you go forward from them.
Oh, I remember just like being super mad at how the Democrats totally like scammed him out of the nomination. And I did not like Donald Trump at the time. And I lived in Los Angeles. So it didn't even matter. My vote didn't matter. I was like, I don't even care.
Every vote matters. Every vote matters. Everybody needs to vote.
It's true. See, I had the wrong attitude, Jay. Don't be like me, you guys. Be like Jay. Okay. Speaking of being like Jay, what do you think about TikTok being reinstated?
Well, I was totally against it.
Yeah.
Australia has done away with it. You can't have TikTok if you're under 18 in Australia. But then I listened to the president explain why he's bringing TikTok back. He believes that the American government can make $500 billion on TikTok. He believes the street value for TikTok is $1 trillion. He believes that if you do away with TikTok, then it has no value whatsoever.
Okay.
And he now feels that by doing this executive order, makes the American government a partner in TikTok.
Can he do that?
Well, I'm not really sure, but that's his explanation of it.
He just like, is this like, oh my God, eminent domain on TikTok?
It might be. And so what he's saying is that if we eliminate it, it has no value. But if the U.S., which is now a partner because he's allowing it to happen, that we will look for a seller, we'll look for a buyer who will buy it from China. And that money, half of it will go to China, half of it will go to the United States, and it will have real value, and it'll be owned by someone other than the CCP. So, he swayed me yesterday. I was not there at all because of what they collect and the data. But if they can sell it to someone that's approved by Trump in the art of the deal, then maybe it has some value to the American people.
I mean, you know what? You just said something so important there, Jay, and that's something Benjamin says all the time. These folks, Democrats, we'll say, just to be, general, they could just read his book and understand him and how he thinks and how he operates. This man wants to love him or hate him. This man wants to work a deal. He wants to feel like he won something. He wants to feel like he did a thing. You could work with this man. You could manipulate is like too strong of a word, but you could cooperate with this person and actually get what you want with some finesse. And instead they're just out there being like, Orange Hitler.
Well, it's absolutely true. So, but he also said that he can stop it at any given point, that it may be in 90 days, that he decides that we're going to shut it down again and get rid of it permanently. So that's an option as well.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. America first trade policy. You know, I love that. I don't know what that means. I have mixed feelings about tariffs. I understand why
Okay.
people don't like tariffs, but I also don't like getting poisoned by cheap products from China.
Well, it's a lot more than that. What it
Yeah.
is, the tariffs allow, it's protecting the American worker.
Mm.
So when the Chinese government and any other government provides subsidies to their manufacturers so that they can be more competitive in the marketplace, then it's unfair competition. So what tariffs are
Mm.
doing is to make a fair competition, and that's what we're looking to do. And people are always saying, well, the prices are going to go up, they're going to skyrocket, all of those kind of things,
Yeah.
which just isn't true. What you're going to find out is that those products that can be competitive within the marketplace are going to be continue to be competitive in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
You provide a good quality product at a good solid price and the people will buy it. It's when you artificially change the pricing of products to have an unfair advantage
Yes.
that is an issue.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Which
Let's
is what
bring that
China does.
into the whole electric vehicle situation.
Yes.
So what's happening is it's the government is subsidizing electric vehicles by giving you tax breaks and different incentives in order to buy vehicles that you wouldn't pay the full price on if you wanted to. That's
Yep.
an unfair advantage.
That's
So what
right.
the president is talking about doing is let's eliminate all subsidies for things because of social engineering.
That's
And
right.
that's all they're doing. So
Yep.
there's no difference between a tariff and subsidies for manufacturers in this country that are not able to produce a product that's marketable at a right price. So
I love
tariffs
that.
work the same way that getting rid of subsidies work.
Yeah.
So it's leveling the playing field, and that's making a big difference.
And that's one of the things that I think people don't realize, that we really do not have a free market economy here in the United States. I think it's something, was it Sweden? It's one of the Nordic countries, I think, has the most free capitalistic country. We have so many government subsidies and other things, like ways that they manipulate the market. Like, I mean, when you talk to a farmer and they tell you that they get paid by the government to throw away food, there is nothing more infuriating than that. When you see people hungry all over the place and our government is paying farmers to destroy food because of the subsidies and price fixing and whatever. Look, I understand that running a business like a farm is very hard. But one of the things I really like in with this new Trump administration is the RFK Jr. influence, the Make America Healthy Again.
Well, as long as he doesn't go around with his shirt off, I'm pretty sick of seeing him with his shirt off.
Oh, Ben, you
At
got to
some
give me a
point in your
picture of
life,
RFK with his shirt off. Come
yeah,
on.
keep your shirt on. Okay? But going back to what you're saying, ethanol is a great example
Yeah.
that we've made, fuel less efficient because we
Yes.
decided that corn products, and I don't live in Iowa, so I don't give a crap about ethanol subsidies
Yeah.
and all the things that go with that.
Yep.
So you're absolutely right that we have to do away, and it has to be a free market economy. That is what capitalism is all about. So I don't know if you're going to put up a photo of RFK without a shirt on, but if you are, please warn me and let me look away.
No. Wait, did you actually send me something? Oh, wait, it didn't. Wait, it's not coming up. Wait. RFK Jr.'s bizarre shirtless workout. Oh. Okay, hold on. It's giving me all these crazy pop-ups. No,
Okay, I'm
leave
going
me
to look
alone.
away.
No,
Make
I
sure you
can't. It's
warn
not
me.
working. Boo. You got it? Okay, Ben's gonna get it. Here's everyone he lifted out of poverty.
I
That
mean,
thing.
here he is working like crazy, working out, all doing those things. We've been on for about a half hour. I'm exhausted. And I'm just talking.
Jay, you need to work out more. You know what else you need to do? Get rid of the WHO. I like this one. The getting rid of or withdrawing from the WHO, the World Health Organization. Because so now here's the thing. I like this because they're a bunch of scam artists run by scammy slime balls, and they like advocate for child uh fans of the playground. That they advocate for fans of the playground as the United Nations, but whatever. Okay. What the heck was I going to say? Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I think when you take a look at the WHO, and who cares about the WHO except the WHO?
Hey.
And it's not like Horton, here's the WHO, here's a WHO. This is about an organization that we subsidize, and they do things that are anti-American. I think we need to take a strong look at the UN and the money we're providing with organizations around the world. We saw what the UN was doing, helping Hamas. There's a bunch of things that we need to look at in terms of foreign aid.
Yeah.
And the WHO is just the start of it, but there's a whole truckload of other people that are taking money from our country. And we need to take a look at every agency within the UN and decide whether or not we shut it down, because they do not exist without us.
That's right. And that's,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jay.
And it's right up there with NATO.
Yes.
Paying their fair share. So like the president said, we have an ocean protecting us. They don't. They need to step up, and they need to protect themselves, and they need to be in this game as well, that we cannot be the piggy bank of the world.
That's right. And because we're not. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, once you understand fractional reserve currency, you understand that our whole economy is basically a house of cards. And it's not real. We print money and loan it out and spend it like it's a thing, and it's not. And if oh, get me started. Okay. Interestingly enough, one of the things, Whitney Webb, she's prolific on Twitter, and she's a bit of a conspiracy theorist type person, but I don't know. She's got some interesting information. I can't tell if she's like legit or not, but she was saying that when we withdrew money out of the WHO last time, we just gave it to like the Gates Vaccine Foundation or whatever. And I'm like, can we not do that again? Can we not give more money to Bill Gates?
This might be going in the wrong direction from where you want to go, but it was interesting to look at the list of pardons.
Yeah.
And that Bill Gates was not one of them. So I think there's an opportunity for us to find out what he's been doing. Yeah. Take a look at these vaccines and the different things that he's been doing that has been hurting our country.
Yeah.
So perhaps it was a good thing that somehow they ran out of time to pardon everyone, and they didn't get around to some of these bad actors.
Oh my God. Ben, would you actually pull me up a list? Well, I want to close with that list of Biden pardons. We're going to talk about that. Jay, divert your eyes. Divert your eyes. For all the ladies watching, here's a little shirtless RFK Jr. for you, doing some weird pull-up. This dude is weirdly jacked for his age. I understand now why people think it's like weird, like he must be on drugs or something.
Well,
isn't he like in his 70s and he's freaking yoked up like that?
He's not in his 70s.
He's not. How old is he?
No, but if you've been a trust fund baby your whole life and you have all the money in the world and not necessarily a job,
it
gives you a little more workout time. It's a good opportunity to get to the gym. I mean,
he's 71. No, what? He's 71.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I totally interrupted you, Jay. I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. I was just going to say something I probably shouldn't say.
Well, I saved you. Okay. So is there anything else of note, that, like telling California they need to, do their job. There's some interesting things in here. Is there anything else you want to talk about, highlight before we go?
Well, no, I think we really want to talk a little bit about, draining the swamp.
Yeah.
I think that's the other executive orders that I think are important.
Yeah.
Where we're going to actually have people go into the office so that we know that they're working. We're actually going to get rid of the DEI requirements that is in every branch of government.
Yeah.
We're actually going to reinstate all the people in the military that were kicked out because they wouldn't get the COVID shot.
Yes.
And give them back pay.
That's wild.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in D.C. that it's really, really important that we're going to be doing. We didn't even get into the Department of Government Efficiency and what that's all about.
Ooh, you want to say a little bit about that?
Well, I just think it's interesting that Vivek is no longer going to be part of that. That he's announced that he's running for governor of Ohio.
Okay.
So he's going to be a little bit involved, but he is not going to be as active as he once was as part of this. So it's
That
really
is
Elon
so
Musk.
Interesting. Okay. Governor of Ohio. Okay.
And I want to talk a little bit about the virus that was going around the White House in the last couple of months.
Oh,
mostly with the Biden family, because every 2 minutes, I believe, there were people, they were sneezing, and they kept saying, "Pardon me." So they'd sneeze and they'd say, "Pardon me." They'd burp. They had gas. They were burping. They were farting and saying, "Oh, pardon me." So there was a whole lot of that going on that in the Biden White House that must have been a virus of some sort, because there was a long list of people that would go to the White House and sneeze or burp and have to say, "Pardon me."
Yeah.
So that was a big thing.
I bet. You know what? Interestingly enough, I wonder if it was the virus of the Immaculate Conception.
Well, it was Immaculate Deception.
Wait, hold on. Where is it? Come here. Hang on. Oh, come on. Bring it up quicker.
Just be
Heavens
careful.
to Murgatroyd.
Just be careful with me and the Immaculate Conception.
No. So we did, it's Anthony Fauci, the virus of the Immaculate Conception. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one of the ones that was pardoned. So who else did he pardon? Slew of pardons. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden on his way out of office. Mr. I'm so much more dignified and integrous than that rapscallion Donald Trump. He decided to officially just pardon his family members for whatever they might have done potentially for the past 11 years.
Why do you pick that date? Ericka?
Isn't that after when he and his family started messing around over in the Ukraines and the things like that?
1 month before. 1 month before, Burisma, whatever it is, everything in the Ukraine, all the other China deals.
Yep.
And it was 1 month before Hunter became this international businessman of note. And so, his partner, the big guy.
I mean, this is what they pardon Hunter, which we know was into a bunch of nonsense. And he was going to get in trouble for it. What is so crazy to me, Jay, is we hear all the time things like, "Oh, no one is above the law. No one is above the law." So they made extensive attempts to get Donald Trump and his entire family hemmed up with the law. And they couldn't find anything or nothing that they could get to stick. You know, they got a lot of made up stuff, but we know Hunter Biden did this stuff. We know that he and his father were into things. We have the evidence for it. And yet people are just like, okay, it's okay for him to just pardon people.
Yeah.
Can these be overturned? Do you know?
Well, again, we go back to a couple of tweets that I did, and I called some of this out.
Yeah.
I believe that I didn't see a full list of all the pardons that Biden did, but I believe he pardoned everyone who's ever voted for him since 1970. So I think anybody who likes him or even was deceived enough to vote for him since 1970 is now on the pardon list.
Yeah.
But I also wonder about the legality of it. It's coming out pretty much that he is not a man of sound mind and he's dementia. Is he legally allowed to enter into legal agreements when he doesn't know who or where he is?
This is
So
what
I think we
yes.
can take a look at that as well.
I'm telling you, Joe, excuse me, Jay, I do not understand how Joe Biden is still president. I mean, it is so obvious that he is not there. I feel like anything he's done in the last 4 years shouldn't be counted at all.
Right. And they're finally admitting it. I mean, even the New York Times is coming out with the truth now, truth
Wow.
that they've known for years. The mainstream media, MSNBC, CNN, are all acknowledging it now when they've known it for years and years. But they will not acknowledge who it was that's making the decisions. When does that come out? Who is actually responsible for enabling this president who needed help?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just not happening.
So
But
oh, what? Go ahead.
it's a whole new world.
A whole new world. He also pardoned Fauci, which you guys know, again, all this stuff came out. Senator Rand Paul was dragging him for filth in those Senate hearings about the nonsense that he was doing, the gain of function research. So he's been pardoned. General Mark Milley, pardoned.
First man fired.
Wow. Dude, January 6th committee. This is so his whole family, these people, who else? Is there anybody else, Ben? The last one has 5 family members on it. Yeah, that's the one with the brother, his Jill, Sarah, his sister, and whatever.
And there's some rumor that those were waited to the last minute.
Yeah.
And so Trump would not know about it when he was making his inauguration speech, the details of it, so that he wouldn't stand there and point his finger at Joe and say, Joe, this isn't right.
Wow. He dragged them on stage bad enough. That was so delightful. I was like, oh my God, he is talking smack about them right to their face. Donald Trump may not be the president that we want. That's going to come out wrong. I got to start that all the way over. You guys don't get mad at me. It's very often said that, people want a president that's more distinguished and, whatever. But like you were talking about at the beginning of the show, Jay, the executive orders that Donald Trump signed are really to demonstrate just how broken the trust is between the government and the American people, between the establishment, the elites, and the American people. And we needed a bulldog to be willing to take the heat, to just tear it apart, and so that we could all see the truth.
Well, I think one of the things we can compare the American people to a child. And we don't always get what we want, but sometimes we get what we need. Sometimes this country has had enough ice cream and cake that maybe we need some vegetables, and that's why RFK is where he is. That sometimes you need a little bit of things that are good for you, not necessarily things you want. So America, like me, have gotten fat. It's time we work out. It's time we have some discipline. It's time we get things done. And Donald Trump, it may not be what we want, but he may just be the thing we need.
And that is a perfect place to put a pin in the episode this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for watching the episode this long. We ask that if you got something out of it, or if you hated it, in either case, engage with the algorithm. Give us a like, give us a hate, give us a comment, and share it with people that you think might enjoy it. All right, let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually forgot to stop for an ad break. So we're going to close out with a word from our sponsor, the American Center for Education and Knowledge. And then we will see you guys all next week. All right.
Socialism. The goal of socialism is communism. The world is quite familiar with socialism and the horrors socialism has brought with it. It wasn't that long ago. Actually, it's still with us. Socialism creeps into government slowly until it's too late. Socialism, the big lie. Yes, it could happen anywhere. This educational video was brought to you by the American Center for Education and Knowledge and paid for by people like you.